Hi guys, welcome to COMICONARTIST. I'm Alex, and for today's episode, I'll be drawing Diva. I'm going to try something different this time around. I'm going to be using a lot less of the basic shapes I always start drawing with. Instead of putting them on paper, I'll be picturing them in my head while I draw. As always, I'll start drawing the basic shape of the head first, but this time, I'll be going straight into drawing her facial features. Even when I have objects obscuring parts of the body, like the bubble over Diva's lips, I like to make sure my placement is correct by penciling in the body parts that are hidden anyway. I find that it helps to ensure my drawing is balanced correctly. I always like to adjust my drawings as I go along. Sometimes an eye or nose will be a little off. I don't always catch these things the first time around, so it's good to stop every now and then and take inventory of what I've got on paper so far, especially right before I start inking. Once again, I'm trying to picture basic shapes. Sometimes I'll use stick lines to help define the basic placement of limbs, and then start filling them in with familiar shapes to define them even further. Diva's outfit is pretty detailed, so I try to get my hands on some decent reference images. I try to avoid using reference images that look identical to my drawing, otherwise I'll unconsciously end up copying the reference pose. As I place more detail on Diva's costume, I'm trying to keep her anatomy in mind. Small details such as the correct position of the buttons on her suit and placement of the seams really help towards making her anatomy look correct. Now to my favorite part of drawing, the inks. I'll be using my trusty ink brush pen. Because these pencils are a lot looser than in my previous episode drawing Spider-Man, this time I'll be relying on my instincts a lot more. I find it's good to change up my method or style of drawing every now and then, especially if it's something I've never drawn before or a tool I've never used before. In this instance, I usually prefer to be very detailed in my pencils before I ink, so this is a little out of my comfort zone. These loose lines really allow me to be more spontaneous with my inking, and doesn't lock me into a pattern of just tracing over my pencil lines. This is the part that usually scares me, the fear of making a mistake. But that's okay. It's okay to make mistakes as you go along. I believe if you can learn from it, you're already on your way to becoming a better artist. Whenever I try to recreate tech, like I'm doing with Diva's gun, I try not to look at it as a whole. Most of the time, I find that I'm only going to confuse myself. I'm always looking for simple shapes, and I try to build it one piece at a time, like trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle. This is a very similar method I like to use when I'm building anatomy. Now I'm going to erase my pencil lines to prep for my gray tone markers. These brush tip markers are so helpful in creating the shadow tones of the skin, but I find it really works well when I use them to render metallic shading, especially around Diva's collar. If you'd like to see more of my art, you can follow me on Instagram at ALXCHNG. I like to add an extra color to make this drawing pop. In this case, I'll be using a nice pink marker for color accents. Once again, I'm using my underlaying gray tones to help define the shadows for the color accents. And there we have it. I hope you enjoyed watching this episode. Please leave any comments, suggestions, or even requests you may have in the section below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And hit that subscribe button to get notified of future videos here at Comic Con Artist. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.